Hey, what's up, Streamkeepers, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's topic, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about something that I have always been asked in regards to resetting your tank and where you're going to put your streams when you reset your tank. So this is something that I get the question a lot. And of course, in this video, we will talk through some of the methodologies that can be used, some alternatives that you can actually use in terms of what you're going to do when you do your reset. However, before we actually start into this topic, I just want to give an update, on the things on the ground. Actually, I have been away for quite some times in terms of doing the videos. So usually, for people who knows me, I always do a lot of videos up front so that every week I can have that videos out. However, in the last few weeks, I haven't been doing a lot of videos, and one of the things is because we are trying to get a lot of things done in terms of the progression for 2023, and that's the reason why I held back a few weeks in terms of doing the videos. But however, moving forward, when things are more settled down, definitely there will be a lot more content out there. And yeah, so for today's topic, I actually want to talk to you guys about the resetting of tanks, and of course, where do the streams go. For those who have the luxury, like for example, if you have the luxury of the tank space, and you can always move your streams from one tank to the other tank, and then after that do a reset, whether it's soft reset or hard reset. I think that's a luxury that some people have. However, in Singapore, we are we are not blessed with a lot of space. Land is very expensive, and the land is space is really a premium. And one of the things that you can actually consider during a reset is that you can actually use holding boxes in the tank. Like for example, you want to have during the the initial design phase of your rack or your system, you want to actually have at least one or two bigger tanks, like for example 100-liter tank or 2 feet tank, 60 cm by 45 cm height, 60 cm length, 45 cm depth, and 30 cm or 38 cm height. And one of the reasons for doing that is because with that bigger tank space, you can actually get holding boxes. So instead of using like a breeder box, actually breeder box, like these breeder boxes, they are too small to actually hold the strings for a long period of time. So for example, if you're going to do a soft reset, the long and short of it is that the beneficial bacteria in the tank, in terms of the sponge, in terms of your filter, there's a lot of beneficial bacteria already there. And if you just do a soft reset, like moving out all the soil and then just topping out with new soil, the entire cycling process actually reduces by a lot, drastically by a lot. So you can actually move the streams to a holding tank, a holding area, which is a mature tank that has been running and that doesn't give you any problems. So you actually move the streams over there in the holding tank for a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. So try to get those bigger holding tanks that regardless whether it's internal or external, I think that's fine. So as long as there's enough sufficient volume of water in the holding tank, I think that will be sufficient. But however, the smaller ones like the breeding boxes, these are good for selection process. These are good for holding the streams for a few hours, maybe up to a day or two. I know I have seen people keep streams in there. Not many of them, not many streams in there for a long period of time, and there's no issue with it. However, I think it's really tiny, so I don't want to stay in here for like 3 or 4 weeks. So I think one of the alternatives that for example, if you don't have access to breeding boxes, big boxes, you can actually get any DIY stuff. Even a very simple one, like for example a very fine net or a modified tray. Those tray where there's holes in there, and then you just put a netting or something. As long as there's filtration, as long as there's water circulation in terms of where the streams will be, I think that will be perfectly fine. I think there's a lot of breeder box, and there's big ones and holding boxes that are big ones that you can actually put inside your 2 feet tank, which in essence, it has that volume capacity to hold those streams for a short period of time. However, if let's say your tank are small, like for example, maybe a 45 cm tank that we often use in Singapore, I think this is where there's probably some limitation. However, it is still possible. You go and maybe customize or find a holding tank or holding box that is big enough for 45 cm, and you really put it there, and then you can do your reset. So these are some of the things that you can actually consider in terms of doing your reset. And reset is something that I always encourage people to do. And resetting of tanks is really something that you can get better and better each time, trying to understand your tank much better. And I recently gave an example to somebody that I've been chatting with, in terms of the more times you actually reset the tank, the better it is. Not because the tank will be better, but yourself will be better in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your experience, in terms of the entire process. So I think that's one very critical thing that I will certainly encourage a lot of breeders out there not to be afraid of resetting your tank. Go ahead and reset your tank and learn through the process, because the more times you reset, the better you will get the next time round. So I really encourage you guys to go ahead and do your reset. And after you reset the tank, and once the tank is stabilized and everything else, you put the streams back, and then you can actually see that the streams are actually breathing once again. The water column nutrients is back up to where it's supposed to be. The plants are doing well, the mosses are doing well, the streams are breathing well again. So do not hesitate to do a reset. I think that's something that has been holding a lot of people back. Like for example, people are afraid of changing water because the streams die or something like that. I think we need to learn past that. In the very beginning of that, when I started learning about streams, definitely, of course, I have undergone a lot of challenges as well. For example, when I do reset, it wasn't very successful. I take a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of many hours just to clean the tank and things like that. So after many times, I think we can really streamline the resetting process, and I think I'm quite blessed, and that's the reason why I don't really have the issue of moving the streams around before I reset the tank. So I have sufficient tank space to actually move the streams to the next tank before I do a reset. However, what I think is more critical over here is that you have mature tanks that are ready, just in case that there's any tank crashes or things like that, ammonia spike, where you can actually move the streams quickly over there. So the breeding boxes and holding boxes actually serve a lot of purpose, and the bigger the tank that you have, you can actually put a lot more boxes around those tanks just to hold them temporarily until you have access to tank space as well. So having big tanks have many advantages. I'm not saying that having more smaller tanks are disadvantaged. However, I'm just saying that the bigger the water volume, for those who are into fish keeping, aquarium keeping for a long time, understand the philosophy that the larger the water volume, the more stable the water parameters are. The smaller it is, the more it can get easily upset, imbalance in that sense. So I think from a resetting standpoint, from a tank volume standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to actually, during the design phase, to actually include in big tanks spaces for your rack. For example, you can always do like 8 small tanks on the rack, and then 2 bigger tanks at the very bottom of it. Or you can even do 4 big tanks and things like that. I have done a lot of configurations, but what I really like is actually 8 small tanks on the first 2 tiers, and then the last tier I have the big tanks in there. I think that really maximizes the space in terms of usage, in terms of breeding, in terms of holding tanks and as well. So I think that's where I really started to configure things around. Having big tanks, like I said, like I've mentioned before, has a lot of benefits of it. So this entire video is really to talk about this few possibilities in terms of the resetting of tanks, where the streams will be. Like for example, you can put them in big holding boxes. It can be done, you know, you can try to your local store, look at even some of these baskets and things like that. As long as it floats in the tank, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't mix with your other streams, I think then that will be sufficient. So there is really no requirement of saying that, okay, you need to have a standby tank where you need to move the streams before you do a reset. You can actually have big breeding holding boxes, and they are not actually breeding boxes, they are holding boxes where you can actually hold the streams there until your reset is done. So having all these holding boxes is very beneficial, and I would really encourage you guys to actually look out and then share with us, you know, what kind of holding boxes you actually have, because I would really like to see some of these pictures and videos of you guys, how you do the reset and things like that. So thanks for watching this video, and until next time, peace out.